Valley is a place for big tech, big dreams, and big money. But with all that also comes the dark side. The new ID series, The Tech Bro Murders, gives us an inside look at some of these stories. Palo Alto PD detective Sandra Brown here to chat more. It's so great to see you again. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. It's when she said your name, I knew exactly who you were. So, this whole series has a theme. It's Silicon Valley. Yeah. And we did six different cases, and each of the cases were extremely different, but they had an underlying commonality to it. And that was greed, power, ambition, right? There was that theme in each of the cases. And unfortunately, when people look at Silicon Valley, they think, I want to be there. I want to be wealthy. I want to be one of the 1%ers. But sometimes when you don't make it, there's some devastating consequences. And that's what this series looks at. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to be rich. I'm going to drive a fancy car. I'm going to live in a fancy mansion. I'm going to have a lot of money. My kids are going to go to private school and everything's going to be perfect. This series shows you that sometimes it is and sometimes it's not.
Yeah, I mean, because you think of those people that are the trailblazers, the ones that almost made it, the ones that came in second place, and those that end up empty-handed, and kind of what that does to you and the people trying to achieve those same things.
Yes, and it's got to be devastating for somebody who thinks they're on the verge of making it big. They've got the next thing, and then it doesn't work. And how does that make them feel? And in some of these cases, people maybe thought they could get away with something. But as I've said all morning, crime doesn't have a zip code. And just because you live in a Silicon Valley wealthy neighborhood doesn't mean that crime doesn't occur, because it does. And as you know from Tetris murders, crime occurred in Palo Alto in a nice little bed community. And in all of these cases, people lost their lives. And they were just minding their business, and some things happened. And a lot of people don't realize that happens in Silicon Valley.
I mean, let's talk a little bit about the tech culture, tech bro culture that's risen. Was that kind of with the meteoric rise of Facebook, and how that kind of changed the demographic of people who were trying to come in there?
Yes. And, when you look at Mark Zuckerberg, young guy, didn't finish college, become a billionaire, and everybody's like, oh, I want to do that. And it even goes further back. When you think about the Hewlett and the Packards and all these companies that came into Silicon Valley back in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, 80s. Now you have Google. Now you have, all these other major multi-billion-dollar companies, and everybody wants to get a part of that. But you can work really hard, and it's just not for everybody. And in some of these cases, you can see that it didn't matter. Money, fame, power, greed, ambition, people still lost their lives. And sometimes it's not for everybody. And you mentioned Facebook. Yes, in this first case, Facebook was a major player in the mind of Francis Wolke, who was a suspect in Kathy Anderson's death. And that's the first one, Killer Code. He wanted that so bad. And someone lost their life because of that. And that's what, I'm not going to give it away because I want you to watch. But, check it out, because it's not perfect.
And let's give a little bit. Yeah, let's give a little insight into Kathy Anderson, because she wasn't a tech programmer. She wasn't a CEO. She wasn't even kind of involved in that tech culture. But, it's kicking off the series.
Well, I'll tell you a couple things about Kathy Anderson. First of all, she was beloved in Menlo Park. She was a former arborist for the entire city. Her husband, on the other hand, Andy Dahl, owned Dahl Plumbing in Palo Alto over on Alma Street. And strange as it is, I knew her husband. I used to go and get coffee, and I'd see him, and we'd strike up a conversation. Then I'd go to another call. A month later, I'd see him again. I actually got to know him. He actually told me way back in 2005, 6, and 7 that he had leukemia and he passed. And so he brought all that. That, I think, is the connection to Silicon Valley. He had this very successful company that's still going on, and it's huge in that area. And his wife, she's living alone now. And I went to their home, and I watched across the street where the suspect possibly saw her in her home. And it was really sad that he could see into her home and see her life. And she died in her own home. And it's just really, really sad. So his company, her family, tech associated some way. Yes.
What kind of advice do you give people, either through interviews or people that you meet in Palo Alto, especially as the more successful you become, who's on your side, who do you trust, who are your enemies, just kind of how you create that, because everybody's watching the more success you have.
Yeah. Yes. Again, I didn't know that people loved the whodunit crime shows. But I'll go back to my time working. I've responded to cases where people found people in their homes, and in the middle of the night, they called 911. There's a guy in my house. And when we got there and we did all the investigation, the guy was drunk, your front door wasn't locked. And a lot of people, I want people to understand, just because you feel safe in Silicon Valley and these wealthy, well-to-do communities, don't don't miss the important points. Keep yourself safe, keep your family safe, lock your doors, secure your windows at night, call the police if you see something, because again, crime doesn't have a zip code and it can happen anywhere. And when you show these type of shows, people go, oh, I thought it was all fame and fortune and wonderful and great, but wow, people die. People lose it, some mental illness, people don't make it, and they hurt people. And I want people to understand that.
Talk about some of the other stories that we're going to see in this series. Obviously, we kick off with Kathy Anderson, but some of the other ones that we're going to see.
So the second one you're going to see is about a Google tech out of Santa Cruz who was found deceased on his yacht in the Santa Cruz Marina. Now that's a really strange case, and that was a true whodunit. The police had no idea, but as the case forwarded and they found out some information, and I'm not going to give it away. I've spent a lot of time in Santa Cruz growing up in the Bay Area, and so that's an interesting case. And then Google is tied to it. Another one that the third one is a Janine Harms case. This is a case of a possible homicide, which we think it is. She's been missing for over 20 years. Janine and I were born the same year. We went to San Jose State University. I might have met her when I was there. Who knows? We went to the same breweries in Campbell, and I didn't discover any of that until we were going through production. But one of the strangest things, and this is, I hate to say my favorite show, but as we were investigating, I found out that one of our suspects, my husband and I bought our wedding cake from his family's bakery, Wilson's Bakery, which is no longer there, but in Santa Clara. And I'm just like, wait a minute, hold on. This is so strange, right? I knew number one's husband. I bought my cake from this guy's family. And I enjoyed doing the shows because I had a personal connection, only because I worked in law enforcement in the Bay Area in Silicon Valley. And I got to meet a lot of people. In some of these cases, a reporter that I knew her dad. I didn't know her, but she told me when she got that she was, my dad. And I was just crazy, right? The 6 degrees of separation
Yeah.
are no longer. Now it's down to 2 and 1. And so I really felt connected to this series. And I hope we go forward, I'll have some connection to any of the other ones. But this one starts tomorrow. It's 10 o'clock, 9 Central on ID channel. And it can also be zoomed on HBO Max. And I hope everybody that loves crime shows, tunes in.
You're the best. It's so great to see you again. Thank you so much for your time today. Definitely go ahead and check out the Tech Bro Murders, the new 6-part series on ID. And then also you can catch it on HBO Max. And we'll see you again very soon. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, really good seeing you.
You too. Thank you.